Houston Real Estate Radio.
Welcome back to Houston Real Estate Radio. Today we're talking with the Appraisal District and trying to find out some more information for you on your property taxes. And one of the things that we were talking about at the end of last segment that I want to recap on is how to actually fight your property taxes if you feel like they are too high. So let's go ahead and can you just recap for us what that process is?
Sure. We'll send you your notice of appraised value in April of each year. That will indicate the value that we think your property is worth on January 1st. If you think that value is too high, or if you think you're unequally appraised in comparison to similar homes in your neighborhood, then you have the opportunity to file a protest. You can go online to the Harris County Appraisal District's website and use what we call iFile, and can file it electronically, which we really encourage.
That's
you
really
to do.
convenient,
Very
to
convenient.
be able to go online. And if you guys agree with whatever the homeowner feels, that the value needs to be reduced to, then you just send them an email and agree to it, right?
Sure. Yeah. There's an associated component with iFile called iSettle. And by the way, we have on our website a series of videos that explain how to use iFile and how to use iSettle.
Now that's convenient because it's intimidating.
Well, yeah, it is. There's a lot of things for people to know. And the fact is that we're in the process of putting up quite a number of educational videos. Most of them are 2 or 3 minutes long, that people can go to the website and learn a lot about the different aspects of what we do, including how we set values, how to protest, how to use iFile and iSettle. If you can't resolve it there,
What's the next step? If it doesn't get settled online, then what's the next step in the process?
You'll be scheduled for a hearing before the Appraisal Review Board.
How many people is that?
Well, there's 175 members. They're appointed by the district judges, but they sit in panels of 3.
Okay, so you're going in front of 3 people and kind of making
Right.
your argument for why you think your house should be.
You make your case, and the HCAT appraiser makes their case. Now, the fact is, though, that you will have the chance on our website to see the evidence we intend to use, because about 14 days before the date of the hearing, we'll have that evidence out there available, and you can go to see it by logging into the iFile system and using your account number and your unique iFile number.
Oh, that's good. So it's no surprise when you get there.
Oh, no. You know exactly what we're going to say.
Okay. And so homeowners, I know I have a lot of homeowners that contact me and say they want to protest their taxes and they want me to, send them a couple years worth of comparables in the neighborhood that have sold. Does that help when homeowners come down with those and can kind of show, look, we've had this many foreclosures or, whatever the issues in the neighborhood may be?
Oh, yeah. That's very helpful and we would encourage people to do that. Now, the fact is that you'll see the comparables that we used. When you look online at our evidence that we intend to use in your hearing, we'll have our comparables listed. But certainly you can bring your own comparables. And then the real issue is that, we may or may not know about things that are wrong with your house that need maintenance.
Right.
Yeah, we inspect properties, but we don't go inside.
Mm-hmm. It's just kind of a street view.
Yeah, once that home is occupied. So who knows better what needs to be fixed than the homeowner?
Sure.
But come to that hearing with evidence that would support your position, repair estimates, pictures that show damage, cracked slab, settlement of the foundation, things like that. And if you prepare well, and we have made an error, then you're probably going to get a reduction.
And when do you need to protest by? What's the deadline?
Okay, the deadline it's a statewide deadline. It's May 31st, or 30 days after the date we send you your value notice, whichever is later. Now, the fact is that this year, for 99% of the residential properties, the deadline was May 31st. There's still a few that we're working. Some, we occasionally pick up omitted properties. These are things that maybe there was not, the building permit didn't get reported to us. So we didn't pick up that construction. If we find omitted property, we'll send out the notice. That could be at any time during the year. And if there's a protest date other than May 31st, that date will be printed on the
indicated.
notice. Yeah.
Okay. And, last week, for those listeners that were listening last week, we talked a little bit about some real estate scams going on with purchasing real estate. And I know that you guys are familiar with some scams going on, too. Can you talk to us about those?
Sure. The biggest scam we see is what I'd call the homestead scam. It doesn't cost anything to apply for the homestead exemption. You fill out the state prescribes the application form. You attach to it a copy of your driver's license that shows it has to be at that same address, and a copy of your vehicle registration that shows at that address, and mail that in. And if you owned it on January 1st, and that's the place you occupy, and you're not claiming it, you certify that. And if your driver's license and vehicle registration match, then we're going to grant it automatically, and there's no charge. But a lot of people, these companies, a person buys a new house. These companies, that I call them scams, they get those deed transactions from the county clerk's office. And there's two different ways they operate. Either they'll send you a letter saying this mysterious government agency owes you money, and if you'll sign this contract and agree to give us half the money, we will get it for you. They're probably going to apply for a homestead exemption.
And get that money.
And get the money. They're going to get half of, and particularly since you can apply up to a year late. So you can still apply for a 2011 exemption. So
if someone, if they go online and they found out they don't have the homestead exemption on their property, they can go back and backdate that.
Right. They can they have until January 31st, 2013 to apply for 2011, assuming they qualified in 2011.
So everybody out there needs to go check and make sure they've got their homestead exemption. So they can go to hcad.org.
hcad.org.
And confirm that.
They can also, the value notice that we sent in April for people that owned it then, that will show whether they had an exemption or not.
Also, tell us a little bit about the tax cuts that have been going on, because I know a lot of people actually saw a reduction on their property taxes kind of across the board. I mean, y'all did a lot of tax cuts. Tell us about that.
Yeah, just we're required to follow the market. When the market goes up, we're required to raise values. When the market goes down, we're required to lower them. And the fact is, over the last 2 years, we have lowered the majority of properties in Harris County. We lowered about 40 or 50% last year. We reduced 30% this year. In fact, for 2012, only 10% of the residential properties in this county increased in value.
Wow. So we've got a lot of different areas around Houston, and it really just depends on where you live, as to whether or not you've had a price cut or not on your taxes.
Well, as you realtors like to say, it's location, location,
That's
location.
right.
And that's what determines it.
That's right. That's great. You can always find all of the links from our programs and learn more about our guest at rrea.com/radio. And you can also stream that if you're not in the Houston area. You can also stream that. And then after the show, we always have the videos available online, and we'll have a link to the hcad.org also, so that you can go on and check and see if you do have that homestead exemption. So very interesting conversation. We're going to be back with Don Sumners right after this break.